Marianne Faithfull, the celebrated singer and actress, has passed away at the age of 78, a spokesperson confirmed. Her death marks the end of an era that spanned across decades, leaving behind an indelible mark on the worlds of music and film. Known for her powerful voice and hauntingly vulnerable presence, Faithfull was a fixture of the 1960s and a symbol of the rock and roll spirit that would come to define the counterculture movement of the time. Born in Hampstead, London in December 1946, Faithfull's early life was far from typical for someone destined to become a cultural icon. She was the daughter of an English father and a mother with a strong Hungarian Jewish background, which exposed her to an eclectic mix of cultures. Growing up in a world of contrasting influences, she found herself drawn to the arts from a young age. However, her journey to fame was serendipitous at best. It was in the early 1960s when Faithfull, still a teenager, was discovered by Rolling Stones manager Andrew Loog Oldham. Just 16 years old, Faithfull had already caught the eye of Oldham, who was struck by her beauty and ethereal presence. It was through his influence that she recorded As Tears Go By, a song penned by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. Released in 1964, As Tears Go By became an international hit, propelling Marianne Faithfull into the limelight. The song's success catapulted her into the upper echelons of pop stardom, but it was her distinctive voice and soulful, almost fragile delivery that left an enduring mark on the music scene. Faithfull's version of the song was delicate and breathy, tinged with a folk pop style that would become a trademark of her early career. This early success marked just the beginning of her extraordinary, albeit tumultuous, journey through the worlds of music and fame. While her early career soared, her personal life was a whirlwind of public scrutiny and romantic entanglements. One of the most famous aspects of her life was her tumultuous relationship with Mick Jagger, the charismatic frontman of the Rolling Stones. Their romance in the mid-1960s made headlines and captured the imagination of the public, as Faithfull became one of the most talked-about women in rock and roll. She became the muse for some of the Rolling Stones' most iconic songs, including Wild Horses and You Can't Always Get What You Want. These songs would go on to become anthems for a generation, with their lyrics imbued with the passion and heartache of Jagger's love for Faithfull. But the pressures of fame, coupled with the volatile nature of their relationship, soon took a toll on Faithfull. As Jagger's career continued to rise, Faithfull found herself struggling with the darker side of the rock and roll lifestyle. Her relationship with Jagger came to a dramatic and public end in the late 1960s, and it was shortly after that she began to spiral into addiction. Her battles with heroin addiction were well documented, and at one point Faithfull found herself homeless on the streets of Soho, the heart of London's bohemian scene. The decade of the 1970s was marked by her descent into personal turmoil. However, Marianne Faithfull's story is one of remarkable resilience and eventual triumph. Despite her struggles with addiction, she managed to break free from the destructive patterns that had nearly consumed her life. In the late 1970s, she found her way back to the music scene, producing one of her most groundbreaking albums, Broken English, released in 1979. The album was a revelation, marking a departure from the sweet folk pop sound of her earlier work and embracing a much darker, more experimental and raw sound. Faithfull's voice, now tinged with the weariness of her years, carried a depth and strength that resonated with a new generation of listeners. Broken English was a bold statement, reflecting Faithfull's newfound sense of self. It was a reflection of the pain and wisdom she had acquired over the years, and it received critical acclaim, even earning a Grammy nomination. Her voice, now deeper and more rasping, carried the weight of her personal struggles and the lessons she had learned. The album became a critical and commercial success, and Faithfull's career experienced a remarkable resurgence. It was clear that she was no longer the doe-eyed starlet from the 1960s, but rather a seasoned and complex artist who had lived through the storm and emerged stronger for it. In the years that followed, Faithfull continued to evolve as an artist, collaborating with some of the most iconic figures in music, including David Bowie, Lou Reed, and PJ Harvey. Each collaboration brought out new aspects of her artistry, with Faithfull drawing from her experiences and weaving them into her music. Her collaborations with Nick Cave in particular became the stuff of legend. Cave, who once described Faithfull as one of the greatest singers of all time, was deeply influenced by her, and their partnership produced some of the most hauntingly beautiful music of the 1990s. Aside from her musical achievements, Faithfull also pursued a career in acting. Her stage credits were extensive, with memorable performances in classic works like Chekhov's Three Sisters, where she starred alongside Glenda Jackson, and as Ophelia in Hamlet. Her time on the stage was marked by a rawness and vulnerability that mirrored the struggles she had faced in her personal life. Faithfull's acting career, while not as high profile as her music career, nonetheless earned her respect and admiration for her commitment to her craft. Later in life, she made appearances in popular television shows such as Absolutely Fabulous, where she played the role of God, and The Black Rider, a musical directed by William Burroughs and Tom Waits, where she portrayed the devil. Throughout her life, Marianne Faithfull maintained a complicated relationship with fame. Pressures of the public eye often weighed heavily on her, and her struggles with addiction and personal turmoil were played out in the glare of the media spotlight. Yet, she remained an enduring figure in popular culture, respected by peers and fans alike for her honesty and resilience. She was often described as one of the most intelligent, perceptive, and insightful figures in the music industry, unafraid to express her thoughts on the complexities of love, fame, and personal growth. In the latter years of her career, Faithfull's work became increasingly reflective, focusing on themes of aging, loneliness, and the passage of time. Her 2018 album Negative Capability was an introspective meditation on these themes, capturing the melancholy and wisdom that come with age. The album was widely praised, with critics noting its raw, emotional power and its deep philosophical undercurrents. One of the standout tracks on the album was a re-recorded version of As Tears Go By, which Faithfull had reworked with a rawness and vulnerability that reduced listeners to tears. Her career was not just about the music, it was about the life that she lived and the stories she told. Marianne Faithfull's legacy is one of resilience, reinvention, and artistic courage. She received numerous accolades throughout her career, including the prestigious World Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2009 Women's World Awards. She was also made a Commandeur of the Ordre des Arts et des Lettres by the French government, a fitting tribute to her status as an international cultural icon. Faithfull's personal life was marked by both triumph and tragedy. She married 3 times, first to artist John Dunbar in 1965, then to Ben Brearley of the punk band The Vibrators in 1979, and finally to actor Giorgio della Terza in 1988. Each marriage ended in divorce, but she remained a loving mother to her son Nicholas Dunbar, whom she cherished deeply. In her later years, Faithfull was surrounded by her family, and she passed away peacefully in London, leaving behind a legacy that will be forever etched in the annals of music history. Her death has left a gaping hole in the world of music, and tributes have poured in from all corners of the globe. Mick Jagger, her former lover and lifelong friend, paid heartfelt tribute to Faithfull, describing her as a wonderful friend, a beautiful singer, and a great actress. Rolling Stones guitarist Keith Richards echoed these sentiments, expressing his sadness and remembering Faithfull fondly. Ronnie Wood, another member of the Rolling Stones, also paid tribute, posting a touching message on Instagram, saying that Faithfull would be dearly missed.